super thrilled to have the space to talk to you today, Dorothy, about the tax system, which I think is really a system that impacts all of us, but most of us don't really know the ins and outs of how it actually impacts us in our day-to-day lives.
That's very true. In fact, other than April 15th, most people run away when they hear the word tax.
Totally, yeah. I think everyone dreads tax season, is my understanding. So, what changes to our tax systems would improve racial equity, support well-being, and increase economic inclusion for families?
So the first thing on the road to getting those policies would be a federal government that published tax statistics by race, and that would no longer have a conversation around tax reform that ignored race. So every bill that would be put forth in Congress should have a racial scoring requirement. So we should know, is this going to further exacerbate the racial wealth gap, or is this going to decrease the racial wealth gap? Is this going to make it more equitable for middle-class Americans and lower middle-class Americans to be able to partake in the American dream, or is it going to make it harder? So what we need is race and class data so that we can see who's benefiting and who's being burned.
What would be the impact on Black households if our tax system was more equitable?
Well, again, if our tax system is more equitable, there would be more money in Black taxpayer hands that they could decide what they want to do with it. They could build generational wealth. They could, take care of their family in different ways. Right now, as my book, The Whiteness of Wealth, shows, that whether we're talking about getting married or buying a home or working or trying to build a legacy or paying for college, Black Americans are more likely to pay higher taxes than their white peers. That can't be the right answer. And it's one other reason why I say tax policy is a civil rights issue, that it is really important to understand how Black Americans are disadvantaged in our tax system, even though our tax system says nothing about Blacks pay more. It just so happens in America, where race matters everywhere, that Black Americans are being disadvantaged in a tax system. That is difficult to uncover because the government has not produced the data, the tax data by race. I have an idea for what I call a living wage allowance. It would allow any American who's working and not making a living wage. Okay, what do I mean by living wage? An amount of income that you can take care of your family and pay for basic needs like health insurance, basic necessities of rent, living expenses, taking care of your family. We're not talking minimum wage. Minimum wage is like an insult to a living wage allowance, right? So my idea is, if you're working and you can't make ends meet, then the difference between what you're earning and the living wage allowance would be a check the government would send you. Because we should not have people working and not being able to take care of their families.
What gives you hope in 2025?
What gives me hope is, with the current events that we're seeing, it's going to be a lot harder for people of goodwill to be able to say, this is not the country that we are. This is not us. No, this is us. We're looking at it in real time, and it should get you angry, and it should get you working towards change. So when things are pretty even-keeled, most people say, I call it the mushy middle. Things are fine. I don't have to lock in. I don't have to pay attention. I could go around about my business. But things are getting serious. Things are getting dire. Things are getting tougher for people generally, and it's a lot harder to stay part of the mushy middle. I think I need to join the fight. I think I need to stand up. I think I need to say this is wrong. And I see more people getting informed or taking upon themselves to find out information, because what I think they're looking at is not going to make them happy, or what they're looking at is not going to lead them to think we're headed in the right direction. Giving tax breaks to billionaires, letting billionaires control the government, letting billionaires have an outsized influence in government policies, I think most Americans would say that's the wrong answer. So that just means more Americans have to get involved in change. They have to call their representatives in Congress. They have to pay attention to the local school board election. They have to go to city council meetings. They can't just expect somebody else to do it. You know, what is the expression? No one's going to save us. We have to save ourselves. And I think we're in a moment where more people are seeing that. So I see it as a silver lining. When you see outrageous things happening, it's going to be harder for people of goodwill to stay in the mushy middle and to ignore it and act like business as usual. I just think we're in a time where people are going to be committed and be interested in being committed to make change and make the world a better place for us all. If everybody has an equal opportunity, we all win. We all win. And that's what's important. Most people believe in the importance of equal opportunity. And if the government is overtaxing you, that's wrong. And most people would want to fix it. But it's hard to fix what you don't see, which gets back to the data and which gets back to tax policy as a civil rights issue.
Yes, everything is very interrelated. I love the term of mushy middle.